Radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right. Welcome, Fade to Black. That's right. How you doing? Today is Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. Let's do this. Man, what a great week on Fade to Black. Last night, Dr. Scott Taylor was here, the shared death experience. Tonight, it's Patricia Cori. We're going to be talking about everything tonight. We're going to center things around parallel universes and see where it goes. Tomorrow night, Patricia Eltinge is with us. We're going to be talking about dreams. And then Thursday night, physicist Deep Prasad is back with us. Quantum computing and his search for UFOs. I do have three major events coming up. I've got Contact in the Desert in a couple of weeks right here in Palm Springs, California. May 29th through June 2nd. And then I head south to Peru with Brian Forrester for the Inca Celebration of the Sun. And that's in June. This tour is sold out. But we do have a second tour this year coming up in November. And if you want to change your life, click on the link below for Hidden Inca Tours and go and check that out. We'll see you in Peru. I come back from that for the Psi Games, the Psychic Olympics, which is August 1st through the 3rd, 2025 in Charlottesville, Virginia. That's right. I am a game show host. All right. The month of June, I'm going to give everybody a little bit of a heads up because we're almost there. Starting with, I've got a heavy schedule in the month of June. And it's an intimidating schedule. I've got the taping of my TV show. I've got Peru. I've got Contact in the Desert. All of that throwing down at the same time. I've got a couple days off in between each thing. And I should be doing Fade to Blacks. I'm going to take a real hard look at my schedule and get things worked out with my staff here and make sure that we can keep the train rolling as much as we can. Just giving everybody the heads up. The month of June is going to be crazy. All right. You know, just like they say, it's the life you chose. Ain't anybody complaining around here. I really enjoy it. And part of the thing, and I was just, talking to Patricia about this a few minutes ago, traveling the world and seeing cultures and experiencing things has enabled me, well, to learn, of course, but as somebody that's a show host and doing what I'm doing, I can feel, and I'm sure you guys can see the same things, I can feel the change in me personally on how I conduct an interview and approach people. Because now, before, I asked questions from a certain mindset. And then when you get out there a little bit, like I have, my questions now come from a different place. And that only means, for me, a better conversation, a better show, and an easier way to learn and get at the knowledge. And if I do that, then you do that right along with me. And so there you go. I'm going out there and seeing things and having a wonderful time, but I'm doing it so I can learn, and I'm doing it for this show. I'm doing it for you. Always remember that. So there you go. Tonight, Patricia Cori is with us. Also, for a little bit of transparency, Patricia and I were having this conversation before that. I had to admit to her, I said, Patricia, I'm a stalker of you. I do. I follow her stuff. I've got her books. I watch her post, and very, very interesting life she has. And one of the things that I want to talk a little bit about this with her when I bring her on is last year, and she posted this wonderful string of stuff in social media about her trip to an art show where she was featured. And wow, and looking at her artwork, and I'm thinking to myself, all the shows that I've done with, we've never talked about this. Where's this coming from? I thought if the stalker is doing their job, they know everything. And I was like, I didn't know this about Patricia. So yeah, she's an amazing author, and she touches upon so many different subjects. Tonight we're going to lean into the tech more than before. We're going to talk about CERN. We're going to talk about science and physics and parallel worlds and the multiverse and quantum computers. We're going to do a little bit of AI and what all of this means for humanity. I don't even know. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Patricia, 20 books? Are you up to 20?
No, you're a little bit more. I think that's
Yeah, a little bit more. How many books?
it's 14 published books and a few others that I kind of have in the works.
Man, I'm still trying to crank out my first book.
Maybe you need help.
Yeah. Hey, I like where you're going with that.
I just want you to know I couldn't think of anybody I'd rather be stalked by than you.
Yeah, well, I feel the guilt has been lifted. The guilt has been lifted. This art thing, we'll jump into everything else that we're going to talk about in a second, but this art thing did catch me by surprise. And well, I went and started looking at your artwork, and it looked like an amazing gathering there. It was in London, right?
Yeah, what happened? I'd love to talk about this for just a quick minute because it's a phenomenon that's happened to me. Aside from the writing, it's just one morning I woke up and I said, I have to paint. I'm going to paint. Okay, I can paint. And I went down to the local store and grabbed some paints without any training, no clue at all. I didn't know what I was doing. I got some paint and a canvas, a couple canvases, and a couple of brushes. And out comes this galactic stuff. Day after day, just devoted to painting, became almost obsessive. In fact, I think I'm up to about 180 paintings at the moment. And 120 of them have sold, which is very nice. But it's definitely channeled stuff. I sit down, I do my meditation, and I see the colors, and I pull the paint, and then bingo, I've got a painting. It's very, very exciting stuff.
What's it like to hang out in that social environment of the fine art world? What's that like?
Well, it's
I mean, I saw the restaurants. I saw where you were staying. I saw the glitz and the glamour. It looked like a lot of fun.
Well, I can't believe you're stalking me to that point.
Yes.
It's interesting because it's a whole new area for me.
Mm-hmm.
And because it combines the work that I've done as an author, as a channel, there's a segue there, but it's a completely new world. So it's difficult to get moving in it because it's an environment where you really have to have connections, and I don't really have connections in the art world, but I'll get them. And I'm making progress, so it's very, very exciting, and it's rewarding as hell. I'll tell you.
Do you get to talk about UFOs at a fine dining Michelin restaurant?
No, I haven't been to a fine dining Michelin restaurant in the art yet, but I'll always talk about that because that's my world. Reality for me is everything beyond. So unfortunately, it comes through the painting. So there's this, supernatural. One of the art galleries described my work as supernatural abstract. I went, ooh, I'm going to use that.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah, supernatural abstract is my thing.
Well, congratulations on that. And looking, I couldn't wait to talk to you about it. We had never talked about it before, or we might have briefly just touched upon it, but it just looked like a great trip and a lot of fun. In exposure into a world that most of us will never experience, that fine art world. It's a totally different thing.
It is, and it's a tough world to break into, but I'm making some progress here. So,
Ah, right on, right on. Very cool, very cool. All right, let's jump into it. Um, how many? Okay, let's start with some basics. How many dimensions are there?
well, if you listen to Michio Kaku, who is one of my favorite physicists, he says there are 11. But I find it a little comical to try to define how many dimensions there are when I believe that there may be an infinite array of dimensions. We try to define them. We define the aspects of each dimension, and for me, I don't know that there is a finite number of dimensions. But I think Kaku, he goes into great description of each one, and I think that 12 would work more for me because the dynamic numbers are always 3, 6, 9, 12 for me. So,
Right.
with 11, just kind of like, what happened to the 12th?
Well, yeah, I'm with you on that. String theory, which is what Michio's referring to there, and there's been a lot of work done on string theory, and Brian Greene, of course, leading that charge as well. Um, they are comfortable with the number 11 right now, but you know what they do say? That the math works with additional dimensions. The math doesn't get wonky, right? But right now, in the parameters that they are working in, they're staying with 11. They're trying to find the theory of everything, which is what string theory was established to do in the beginning. I don't know at their current pace of working, but now we have computer assistants on this too as well. But at the pace that they are working, they may not get there and solve this thing for another 50 to 100 years. And isn't that crazy how quickly Einstein did it, right? With general and special. And here string theory comes along, and they've been at it now for 40 years. 40 years. Just cranking
Wow.
on that. Yeah, it's a crazy thought where it may be a minute, but what they're unraveling with all of that, and quantum applies to this too as well. But it is the reveal of the multiverse and in infinite universes and the possibility of infinite parallel worlds and what quantum computing brings to us. And could that same thing apply to dimensions? Is there just infinite dimensions? Like you said, finite may not be it. It may be the opposite of that. It may be infinite. And that's a crazy thought, isn't it? But science, it sounds like our community saying these things, but it's not. This is the science community presenting this, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very good point, because I kind of laugh when the scientists are saying things like, I just heard recently a scientist from CERN, or I believe it was from CERN, who said, we realize now that there may be consciousness in the space-time continuum. I just choked. It's like, guys, you're kind of catching up with us, but that's okay. Whatever. But what's really interesting is that I'm very concerned about CERN, and that they are looking to go beyond the basic elements of reality, of consciousness, of matter, the atom, and beyond. So they're going in the other direction first, that beyond the subatomic, to find the keys of creation. And
What concerns you about that?
how that's a pun. What concerns me about CERN?
You said the pun first. You said it first. You said I'm concerned about CERN, and I let it go. I let it go, Patricia, but it was tasty. Okay, so anyway, what concerns you?
What scares me about CERN is, for starters, when they did the rituals launching CERN, the satanic rituals, and the very, very dark stuff. And so, as we know that intention imprints consciousness, of course, imprints matter. We have Dr. Emoto and his wonderful work with water and the molecules, the frozen molecules, and how they respond to consciousness and language and words. So whatever they're doing at CERN, why did they have to preface it with this satanic overtone, overlay into the process of whatever they're doing there? That concerns me enormously. And there was also supposedly a fake ritual of, I'm sure you heard about that because you know about all things. So why is this ritualistic stuff going on in relationship to supposed science? Is it science or is it occult? And if you're mixing occult with science, my question is, what is your desired outcome? And what is it exactly that you're trying to locate? And they're telling us that they're trying to break through the dimensions and bring something through. And have they? I am concerned about the occult nature of what their intention is and what that could mean as far as what's coming through.
I had a physicist on from CERN. The interview was done from CERN, from their media center there. And it was a great conversation. Cool guy. All right. I'm going to say he's pretty cool, pretty open-minded. And had no issues about taking questions about all of these ideas. But you know what he told me? And he said this on the air. He goes, okay, Jimmy, let me stop you right there. I'm into this stuff. And I've been looking for the Illuminati room here. I said, what? Yeah. I said, really? He goes, it's supposed to be here. I can't find it. And so if it's here, I'm looking, but I haven't found the secret Illuminati ritual room. And I talked about some of the symbology, not only the symbology with CERN directly, but the symbology behind that opening ceremony. Because I got to tell you, Patricia, you hit the nail on the head. I love crazy shit like that. Okay, I do. I like, it's cool. It's good. Yeah, okay. But even for me, I was uncomfortable.
It was dark stuff.
It was over the top, wasn't it?
And long. There were all these different facets of it, perpetual. It never ended, and it got dark.
Costumes, the dance. Whoo, man.
Yeah. Very, very, very dark. And so again, what's the purpose of this? How do you get away with justifying this? You're talking about a scientific experiment that involves 10,000 scientists from around the world, 100 countries involved. And this is what you're doing to announce it? How are you getting away with this dark shit?
Yeah. And it was too. Like I said, I enjoy that stuff. I like watching it and wondering and everything else. But even that was a little bit outside of my comfort zone.
It was way out of my
comfort zone. I'm cool with it. I am. I learned from it, and you can see, but wow, it was so overt. They weren't hiding anything.
No, they were out there. And again, my question is, the science community telling us, the spiritual community, that there's nothing to spirituality and that science is the basis for all reality, right? And yet your ritual, your, 20, 30-minute ritual is all this dark occult stuff. So what exactly are you trying to say about what's being done there? What are you imprinting on this as scientific activity? And I'm convinced that there was a quite negative, dark imprint laid into the work that they're going after. So when they talk about bringing something through, I'm like, what exactly are they intent on bringing through? And have they? And those are questions that keep me up at night.
Yeah, for sure. I have a quick image that I'm going to pull up, and just let me get this. It's going to take 2 seconds. It's ready to go. All right. This is just a quick image of the CERN opening ceremony. And I mean, for everybody here, did I misspell it? Hold on for a second. Man, I swear sometimes I can't. No. I saved it in the wrong spot. Hold on for a second. I thought I did it. Yeah, it's right there. Okay. One more time, everybody. Here we go. I clicked on the wrong file type. Okay. Now this is just a still from the CERN opening ceremony. There it is.
Yikes.
You know, and yeah.
It's dark stuff. You see this image that looks like an eye, a pupil of an eye. And then this also looks like a black hole. And that's something I'd like to touch on with you about CERN. So you've got these beings that appear to be coming out of this black hole eyeball. Before you even get to the dark imagery around it, it's like, what are you telling us? You're bringing spirits through?
Isn't that nuts?
It's not pleasant. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It upsets me. It upsets me because I would love to see, equal time. Let's get some, some spiritual, beautiful imagery too, because this is one powerful thing they've got here, right?
And it was a parade. It was a parade, and it just one scene after another, just unveiling itself. Yeah, it was like terrible. I said, even for me, I was like, woo, for everybody out there, just go. You can, there's hours of video. This was a long opening ceremony, and you can go and watch them yourselves. Now, part of the part that I'm okay with, because I'm not talking about the opening ceremonies, I'm just talking about CERN in general. I complain a lot about science not having an open mind, that they're always closed down and they're not expanding, and they just want to stay in their lane and so forth. And Isaac Newton was a religious guy. He was an alchemist. He was a mathematician. He was also a physicist. And because he had all of these varied backgrounds that he was a scholar in, it allowed him to think outside of the box. And that's how you make progress, right? Well, okay, if you apply that same thing, that complaint that I have to CERN, CERN is pushing boundaries. They aren't staying in bounds. They're blasting stuff together to see what happens. Well, okay. Maybe that's what they're supposed to be doing. All right, and taking chances.
Yeah, but these are.
No, you can go ahead. This is your show, Patricia. I'm just your stalker. You can interrupt me anytime you want. But you know what but what if having this freedom of just blowing shit up at the speed of light, which is what they're doing, let's see what happens.
Faster than speed of light.
You're right. What if they open a portal to the dimension of hell?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They've admitted that it's very reasonable to think that they're able to create micro black holes through this process. And it's like, well, if you've got a micro black hole, there's every reason to believe it's going to become a bigger black hole. Is that what they're doing, creating black holes? Because I
asked him about that too.
What did he say?
Very directly. And no, I made the same statement that you just said. And I used to joke about that. I've got a hair bothering me coming down these glorious locks. Anyway. Yeah. I'm preaching to the choir here. That one of the like fears that I have is they're going to do something like that, and then suddenly CERN is going to be a crater, right? What if it sucks in or sucks in the planet? What if that what if that occurs and we wouldn't even know it if it happened? It would happen that you know what I mean? It would just over.
Now, did you know that their AI computer Astrea, they fired that up, and I don't recall what their declared objective was, but apparently for some nanoseconds, the Earth's magnetosphere was altered while it was fired up, and then they shut it down immediately. So hold on a minute here. I'm glad you're experimenting. This is a gigantic facility. I think it's 43 kilometers around this CERN, right? And you're smashing atoms and doing all this stuff, and you're altering Earth magnetosphere.
I think they stopped it. I think they stopped it.
Yeah, they did. I think they got scared, actually.
No, I think they stopped. I think they stopped Earth's core. I think they stopped it for a day. At least that's what the Chinese reported, that it stopped spinning. Yeah, and so it's just like, wait, whoa. We need to pump the brakes here. And then I remember the comments about that when everything happened. Well, this probably happens all the time, and we don't know it. Well, you know what? No, it doesn't. And maybe you don't need to be telling people that, because that really scared the crap out of me. And
I mean, we've got enough problems with the sun right now that we don't need the magnetosphere to be tampered with. And what kind of power are we giving the scientists if they're able to alter the sheath of this planet? It's very alarming stuff. They admit that they could be creating micro black holes. They admit that they're trying to bring something through. Is it possible they already have? Because there's no question we've got some seriously dark entities on this planet, right? Is that how they're coming through those portals?
Yeah,
There are
I know. Shouldn't that now so is that part of the progress of science? I don't know. It should be, but the other part is, do they know how to reverse this if they do allow something to come through? Do they know how to close it back down? And then the third part of this is, maybe they know what they're doing, and maybe they're doing it intentionally.
That's my point, because if you do a ritual like that, ritual was intense, dark stuff, right? That had a duration that was way too much, and it had every dark symbol possible embedded in it.
I saw way too many sets of horns.
Yeah,
I was horned out. I was horned out, man. It was like, how many goat heads can a person? Wow. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy.
So I would have to answer your comment with, I think they do know what they're looking for, what they're trying to bring through, because of the ritual. In other words, that ritual did not speak to me of bringing angelic presences through this machine, right? So when they admitted that they were interested in seeing, I think the quote was, "We want to see if we can bring anything through the multidimensional aspect or portal." So that's what they would probably have been wanting to bring through. And my question or my answer to you is, it would appear that was their intention. Have they accomplished it? Because I don't think you get to send it back. This is not Star Trek.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But how do we? Okay, so this is the flip side of it. How do we find out about this if we don't push the boundaries? That's the other thing. I mean,
Well, what do you find out about what?
About entities and bad things. Sometimes you have to go to the edge of the cliff, don't you? And you have to take a peek. Is that what they are doing?
Well, if they're just taking a peek is one thing, but if they're engaging,
Yeah,
inviting, engaging to look
consulting. Yeah,
and
consulting.
the altering it, I wonder if we've been catapulted into another timeline. I mean,
Yeah, I
seriously,
know. I know.
this
Hey,
terminology has been used a lot,
something
but
just something
2012,
just something just popped in my head.
go
You
for it.
ready? This is my twisted mind. Somebody at CERN ran downstairs and said, "Okay, we can start the meeting. Baphomet is here." You know what I mean? And okay, we can sit down and start this meeting. Could it be something like that it is done intentionally?
Well,
And
you only
the
get up to,
symbolism. Go ahead.
if you've got Illuminati rooms or no rooms, you've got but what is important is the intention was clearly defined in that ritual. Okay.
Hmm.
So it's not a stretch to think that what's being requested to come in is that vibrational frequency, that dark frequency. Call it Baphomet, call it what you want. Too many goat heads in that ceremony for sure. And I think that if you bring it in, I don't think you get to just say, okay, exorcist time, go back to your lower dimensional framework. I think that this has been, I personally, I mean, it's conjecture, if you will, but I think that it's been responsible for bringing in some demonic energies on the planet, some big ones.
So, I actually looked into something a while ago. I'm just gonna confirm this. Okay. CERN officially opened. Let me. Uh, 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 uh,
It was June
uh,
2018.
what's that?
I'm pretty sure it was June 2018.
Let's see. CERN
Reopened
opening.
in 22.
Okay, 2016 was the opening ceremony
Yeah,
when the Mandela effect started to happen.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
I- Right? Coincidence?
Well, I believe that they're rewriting. Okay, now we're talking about AI in general and the whole dominant reconstructing of the matrix, if you will. And it stands to reason because of that synchronicity of that opening at that time. And then suddenly everybody's misremembering, they're calling it history. What a great fun thing to rewrite history by mutating the space-time continuum or whatever it is that they're playing with there and testing it out on people, because probably they can affect the future, quote unquote. But to be able to change the past, that's really messing with space-time continuum. And
And
they're
what they couldn't erase was our memory.
well, they're doing a pretty good
They
job though,
No,
because
they erase the past. You can alter that, but we still remember that, and that's the basis of the Mandela effect, where
yeah,
and
people are not convinced anymore because they're seeing the samples of things they believed that they remembered, like the cornucopia on Fruit of the Loom. Don't tell me that wasn't there.
Mhm.
And now it was never there. Now, what is it? A basket of fruit, I think. It was a cornucopia, Fruit of the Loom. And so people are saying, sure, I remembered it that way. But they're manipulating the communal mindset, right? Until the point where you keep hearing it. It's if it looks like a duck and it sounds like a duck and walks like a duck, honey, it is a duck. So
I-
um,
how can billions, not millions, not even hundreds of, not tens of, how can billions of people around this planet all have some deep-rooted psychosis that their memory is faulty?
Well,
I don't think that's the case. I think something else is in play.
but for starters, most of the billions are so glued to their cell phone, they're not worried about their memory. They're completely entrenched in technology and the information that they're being given, mind control information. Obey signals, and God knows what else comes through the phone. I don't think billions of people are worried about the Mandela effect, or even, I mean, ask your average person, they've never heard of it, right? They're not.
But yeah, you're right about that. But then just you can flip it on them and go, okay, is it cup of noodles or is it cup noodles?
And they'll say, who gives a damn?
You think so?
Yeah. I'm very dismayed at the moment to see how willing people are to yield to AI, how willing they are to give away. You know, I mean, I'm sitting here on this remote island, right? It's nature. And still in the local cafe, I see a mother sitting with her 3 kids and her husband. She's on the cell phone. The kids are sitting there looking at her. The husband is like, and it's the mother only at that point. I'm like, how could this be more important than the fact that you're out with your 3 kids and your husband just staring at you like, will you ever talk to us? How can this, what is on this device that's more important than that? I can't get my head around it because I'm not addicted to the phone at all. I reject it. And so when it comes to things like people recognizing, hey, something is mutating our memory of the past, they're like, what are you talking about? You know, take a break. Most of the people that I talk to that are not completely awake or on a spiritual path have no clue what I'm talking about.
Okay. My most recent trip, and I fly 2-3 times a month. Okay. And so I'm coming back from Chicago, and I'm at O'Hare. And so I'm in at the gate. I like to people watch. And so I said to myself, and I do this almost at every airport. This isn't the first time this has happened. But I play this little game with myself, and this is the game. Find somebody not looking at their cell phone. Go. And I just scan. And I'm looking at thousands of people. Thousands. Can't find one.
Too bad you don't run into me in an airport.
Well, it was me, that's not. And I like to people watch, and I'm just looking around. Everybody.
It's terrible.
There isn't an exception. And you know how much DNA has been altered?
Yeah.
People have learned, Patricia, how to walk without looking.
So true.
They walk looking at their cell phone. They're not looking where they're going. They walk looking down. It's this, our DNA's been altered. It's crazy.
And I always tell people, this is not your tool. It is the tool of the power. You've been your energy is being confiscated. Your mind is being mutated by this device. Let it go. Let it go. What would I do without my phone? I can tell you what you'd do with it. You'd live. You'd be with your kids laughing and talking. In fact, there were reports when we had the recent blackout in Portugal that some people were saying, it's been really great. We all went together. People were talking to each other in the park. It's like, when are we going to take back our power, humanity? And this is one of the things I wanted to talk about today on your show. It's like, we are giving ourselves away to AI this easily. I mean, Elon Musk now is coming out with this.
How quick did we tap out? How quick was that? It was like overnight.
Yeah,
overnight. Didn't bat an eye, did we? We just let it just like, okay, whatever.
And I've been screaming and yelling about it because to my dying day, I will not yield. I am a sovereign being. So, I have a cell phone. It's always in the case. rarely take it out. I'm protected from it. It's only for emergencies. And when it comes to people, recently somebody said, hey, just give it to AI. You don't have to write a book anymore. Give it to AI. I go, excuse me? What are you talking about? Do you really believe this? Well, yeah, you can get a book made in 20 minutes. I go, excuse me, I'm a poet. I'm a dreamer. You want me to turn it over to a machine? Why are you giving yourself away so easily to this? And the answer is because I'm addicted, because it's easy, because. But if we don't stop this, it doesn't bode well for the human race.
Yeah, somebody said that to me last week. Literally, they said, so I heard you say on the show, you're still waiting to start your first book. Man, just have AI write it for you.
Oh,
Wait. I was like, what? No, what? And it just flowed out of this person's mouth. Just like, and do we need a better example of the possibility of us living in a simulation than what we're going through right now?
exactly. And are we already in it?
Yeah. What do you think?
I have mixed feelings. First of all, I'm convinced that in 2012, the Mayan calendar ran out and people were like, well, the end of the world never happened. It's not, no, the end of time, recorded time was charted and indicated with that process. Have we slipped now into the fourth dimension, where my impression of the fourth dimension, and so I bring forward in the books, is not like some of the scientists. I think it's the no time, not that the fourth dimension is time, but that we are slipping out of the space-time continuum into a state of timelessness. And is that the reality that we're in now? And how would that relate to what you're asking about the simulation? It's extraordinary what we're dealing with. It's extraordinary the heady aspects of reality that we're facing. And my take is something happened to us. We got glitched or something. We were not on it. We were on a course that got waylaid. And I'm not sure how this could have happened, but I think we've hit a glitch. I think we've been zapped out of our trajectory for the history of our planet and the projection for human race.
What does it change though? Does it change your artwork, your ability to paint? I mean, what does it change in my world if that was the case? Does it make a difference?
It does if you yield to it, if you give yourself over to it.
Okay, but if you don't yield to it, I'm not going to. If I don't yield to it, I can still ride my Harley, right? My Harley doesn't get taken away from me. You know what I mean? Not yet. Okay, just stop that, Patricia. Stop that.
Not until they tell you it has to be an electric model or not.
Oh, man. Look, see my shirt?
I
live this life, man. I live this life. I love it. And if it's just...
I'm a cook. I'm a devoted Italian cook. I've got to have gas. I cook with gas. No, they're going to outlaw gas. You're going to have electric stoves. It's like you can't be an Italian and operate with electric. It just doesn't work. And so,
how are you going to have an OG Italian restaurant in Manhattan with an electric stove? Somebody explain that to me.
Cannot. You need that gas, baby. You need to be able to control that heat. There's an art to cooking, and that is the basic, right? And any good chef will tell you, got to have the gas.
Man, can you imagine cooking scampi on an electric stove?
Cannot.
You can't do it.
Where you're going with this,
man? Okay, so back to the idea. This is what scares. If something scares me about the simulation theory, it's this: very, very smart, successful people running very large technology companies. I'm talking about Google and Apple, right? And Musk, saying, well, yeah, man, we're living in a simulation. 99.99% chance that we are. And what do they know that we don't? That's the part that scares me.
Well, then comes the question, are they controlled by some alien silicate-based civilization that is imposing this mandate on the planet, has interfered with the biological nature of this planet to create a synthetic. I mean, it's called artificial intelligence. Hello.
Well, you know what's scarier than that? You're thinking it's the leadership of the alien race. What if it's an 8-year-old alien kid playing a video game in his bedroom from Zeta Reticuli? That's even scarier, isn't it?
That's very scary. What if we're just a reality show on some?
Yeah. I just got the Earth extension pack. You know what I mean? And
Hey, reality show on this planet. You got to watch these creatures down there. I don't know.
I've got Patricia Cori right now about to talk about simulation theory. Hold on, I got to get to the next level. You know. Yeah.
It's very hard for me to get my head around, because I'm working a lot with the concept of 4-dimensional reality and the simultaneous time aspect. But in the end, is there any difference?
No. Does it change the island that you're on? You're able to, after the show tonight, walk down to the beach and walk through the water and feel the sand between your toes. Right?
No.
If that's simulation and you're still able to do that, well, then what does it change in your island life? And I would suggest, I'm not saying I'm okay with it, but what does it change? Does it change the love that I have for my daughter? Right? It's weird. It's a paradox. It's a paradox.
But when you turn over everything to AI, that would be your daughter's education, the cooking her food, your Harley, which now has to be operated by a robot. Yes, it would definitely change the way you live on the planet. So are we in it? We're in a transition, and they're saying it. Elon Musk, by the way, did you catch his Optimus robot?
Of course.
So he said, it won't be long before we have a legion. Imagine a legion of robots. Wow, that would be like Rome. Imagine if the Romans had a legion of. I mean, the guy is insane. Okay, everybody loves him. I don't, but he's a very scary dude. And so he wants legions of. He wants everybody to have an Optimus robot in their house. He said, "What would be wrong with that? Imagine 8 billion Optimus robots. Everybody having them. It would be kind of like everybody having R2D2." I go, wow, I don't want that. I don't want, first of all, in answer to your question, would it be the same world if you sent your robot to go get your daughter? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like we aren't that far from this being perpetrated, because Elon in Saudi Arabia said this was going to start happening in 2025. That's
here about, and anybody can go back and find this, but I started this about 10 years ago, 2015, 2016. And I was on an Elon rant back then. And what I had said to everybody back then, I said, he's got his own space agency. He's got his own rockets. He's got SpaceX, he's got Starlink, he's got his own internet. His own internet. He's got his own artificial intelligence. He's got self-driving cars. He owns the electric car industry. He's got an android robot that is going to be self-aware. He's got every single piece in place to take over the planet.
You forgot that he's ingrained himself at the top echelon of government.
Well, but that came later. I'm saying I gave the warnings 10 years ago before he turned into all of this, and
Yeah.
everybody just kind of laughed. You know,
Yeah.
just kind of laughed. And what did he end up doing? He bought his own social network. You know, and everything that and then ingrained himself into the geopolitical spectrum as the richest man on the planet that owns the most important companies running right now. Period. And is that too much? Talk about a monopoly. He's king of the world. And
Yeah.
it's I don't know Elon. I don't. I will probably never meet him. But is that too much power for
You think?
one person? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that you have had that position, because I've struggled with a lot of people who have gotten on my case for questioning him. And he's a white hat. Oh, look at all the great things. I go, the man. First of all, when he did his exposing Neuralink to a room full of scientists, he was talking about, oh, it's really going to be a wonderful thing. You drill right into the brain. It's not just a chip, it's a computer, and it'll help the paraplegics walk again, and yada yada yada. And he said, who knows? I may be already hooked up. Did you catch that?
Yeah. And now I want to make it
I like.
very clear. Very clear. I have zero issues with Elon. If I was in Elon's position, would I do the same thing? Fuck yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. Of course. All right. But
Why?
what I am saying is it's without any boundaries or control. There isn't anybody interested in this kind of dominance in the world. Should we allow somebody to be in that kind of position? That's all that I'm saying. I have
Okay.
no issues with capitalism or progress. I've said so many times about Elon. Good on him.
Yeah.
Good.
What I'm alluding to is when he said, maybe I'm already hooked up. My question is he hooked up to AI? Is he hooked up to another civilization? Is he getting? I mean, that was a very interesting thing he said. Who knows?
What was
Maybe,
that movie with Johnny Depp? Where Johnny Depp was the software guy, like Elon Musk, that was hooked up to AI. What was that? I can't remember. Somebody posted up in one of you moderators. What was the movie with Johnny Depp? And not Johnny Mnemonic. Oh, man. What was the movie with Johnny Depp and artificial intelligence? Not Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper. Man, you guys. Man,
so,
I depend on man, it was Johnny. I'm pretty sure it was Johnny Depp. Yeah, transcendence. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what we're talking about right now. Could Elon be tapped in? Sometimes I wonder, man.
but
Sometimes I wonder.
he basically said in that talk, it was like a TED talk, but it was in his laboratory or whatever, and it was the audience was all scientists, and he said, who knows, maybe I'm already hooked up. I was like, I think you are. And that leads to a very interesting question. I have nothing against him either. I just question everybody. I mean, people that are in positions of power, I question them. I question not the personality, but the actions and the outcome of those actions. And my question is, yes, he has done some wonderful things, but the question I'm posing here is he in fact already hooked up to some AI system? Is he getting, because his knowledge is very galactic.
Well, yeah, okay. Let's stay on Elon for a second because AI is such a big part of this. And AI bleeds into all of his companies from Tesla, of course,
Yes.
to Neuralink and his Android robots and he's got AI embedded into X now and into social media. So there's that part. If you go back in history, And any individual that surfaced, that dominated industry, they roadblock them. Look what they did to Howard Hughes, right? Or anybody else. Just point at somebody in industry and look how they throttled them. Look what they did to Bill Gates, right? And monopolizing and everything. They just, it was throughout his, Elon, he's got a friggin' hall pass. He can go to the bathroom whenever he wants. Nobody is controlled. Dude owns a rocket company. You know, we're not launching shit anymore without Elon. And he's doing what? 2 launches a day? NASA never did that. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy okay, check this out. How many, let's ask Grok, how many SpaceX launches in 2024? You ready? You ready? 2024, 138 launches, one every other day.
Wow.
Now, let's go. Now, let's do this. So I think in 2025, they wanted to double that. And so far, they've done 57 launches. 57 launches so far this year. I forget I had a, let's see, I'm going to change this to planned. Okay. Yeah. They want to do 180 launches this year.
What are they launching to?
Well, a lot of it is communication satellites. A big chunk of it is Department of Defense, National Reconnaissance Office, and military satellites. Yeah, absolutely.
He's in charge of Space Force, Trump's Space Force.
Who, Elon is? I don't think so.
That was a question.
Oh, no, he's not. He launches for Space Force. I went out to Vandenberg myself. I went out to Space Force Base Vandenberg by invitation of the base commander. Went out there and watched a SpaceX launch. I did it last year. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. From the beach, right in front of us too.
And you know what I'm flabbergasted by at all times is how he's always front and center in every global leader gathering. I mean, did you today in Saudi Arabia? He was sitting next to the crown prince. I go, there he is again. He's always there.
He's king of the world. He's king of the world. He's literally king of the world. When I was calling him, this is back in 2015. I'm not a prophet. I'm not some soothsayer, but I love technology and I love this stuff. And Elon has always impressed me. I'm always studying this. But one day I just went and looked at it and I thought, he owns everything needed to take over the world. He's got everything in place in these different industries.
Yeah, and now he's bringing in legions of Optimus. I mean, he was talking about it like this. He said, you know, just like the Romans had legions, he said, you know, we're going to have a legion of Optimus robots. I'm like, this is iRobot Incorporated.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And nobody seems to have the courage or the ability to step up and say something or do something. Everybody's scared. Yeah, and it's like weird, man.
It's very weird.
Like really weird. Everybody's just so timid when it comes to this. I don't give a crap. I don't. I'm at my age. I'm the get off my lawn. I'm at that get off my lawn stage of my life. I don't give a crap, man. I don't give. What are you going to do? What are you going to ruin my career? No, my career's fine. I've had a great life. Yeah.
What about your daughter's future? You care about that?
I do. I do have that. Well, see, you know what though? Should I wuss out because of that? No. I'm speaking about her future. And how many courageous people in our past that have done very courageous things and stood up for what they believed without considerations of, well, what's this going to do to my friends and family? Well, you know what? Sometimes you got to put that aside because you're actually looking out for their futures.
Well, there's
And
also a very important philosophical question is, at what point do you protect and nurture the self, the soul, in comparison with being concerned about the overall populace, the overall trajectory of humankind? It's
sure,
a tightrope. It's a really tight
it,
walk, because if you're
I could
too
move.
concerned, you lose yourself
I
in
could
the
move to the Azores.
certainly would make the Azores more interesting.
Yeah, you and I were talking about that earlier. I've considered that. And that's part of the reason why I live here in Palmdale, because it's a little more autonomous out here. It's less hectic, and I'm able to concentrate on work and not have the distractions of big city life. And there's a certain appeal to that. You know what I mean? I don't have those distractions at all. I can stay completely focused.
Yeah, I'm living it. Like you, I'm living it. But I need a little more civilization, I think. We'll see.
All right, let's take our break. Patricia Cori is our guest tonight. We're doing it all. We are talking about technology. And where'd you go? There she is. She's right there. We're talking about technology, parallel universes, and the future of us on this planet. All of that and much more when we come back. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. Watch Into the Vortex on GAIA TV. It's Fade to Black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to GAIA.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? How you doing? Jimmy Church here. Special announcement. Get your Fade to Black t-shirts. That's right. Help support the show. Help support everything that we do over here. We've got 2 t-shirts. We've got 2 ways to get them. Get your Fade to Black t-shirt today. Go Backley Tappy. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut. Today we're headed to Bolivia, Tiwanaku, Peru, and of course, Pumapunku. Brian, exciting. Thank you so much for everything, my friend.
Always an honor. Right behind us is the sacred river of the Inca that goes past Machu Picchu. So we're going to be driving up to its source at 15,000 feet above sea level and then down to Lake Titicaca.
So today we hit 15,000 feet.
Yes.
Crazy. And you can do it with us. All you have to do is go to hiddenincatours.com. Simple. We've got 2 tours coming up next year, one in June for the summer solstice,
That's
right? And then another one right here in November. So hiddenincatours.com. Come and hang out with Brian and I and his amazing team.
Right on.
River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Patricia Cori is with us. We're talking about technology tonight, all of it. And let's get straight back to it. Patricia, what about, there seems to be a lack of oversight when it comes to AI. There isn't anything controlling it. Is that a concern?
It's a huge concern. I mean, Trump is going all out. I've been watching the Saudi meetings going on, and he's got all the big kahunas from the tech industry, and even Zuckerberg is there. And that makes me nervous. But when he was talking, I think it was the third day he was in office, he brought in the three big tech giants, and he was expounding on how they were putting $600 billion into the AI, and it was a top priority in the United States. It's a top priority everywhere. And I've noticed that in the last 3 or 4 months since Trump is in, it's AI is everywhere, proliferating at a pace that is should concern people. But for me, it's very alarming because
I don't think it's a political or geopolitical issue. It's the steamroll started a couple of years ago, and so I think that part of it was inevitable. I don't think it's a political thing, but I'll say this.
But Trump is posting it.
Well, yeah, I just don't think it's a political issue. You know what I do believe it is? It's a money issue. There's a lot of money behind it.
Yeah.
And that is what is driving so much of this activity into it. People are chasing the money here, and there's huge trillions and trillions of profits are what everybody is chasing, and the money and the profit is there right now behind it, and it's without any seemingly no regulation at all from any country anywhere.
And people like Elon are saying they're scared of it, even though they're pushing it. It's kind of a very strange paradox. But there doesn't seem to be any regulation. It's just go, go, go. And what I was referring to about Trump was the fact that he said this is a top priority for the United States. And yeah, it's all about the money and the $600 billion these three tech giants are supposedly investing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's runaway on every level, between the AI computing, the robotics, the implants, the tech. It's out of control. And
well, here's the other part. There is no second place. That's the race. Who is going to get to AGI first? And that's it, because once you get to the AGI level, that's it. It's over. It's over at that point. So everybody wants to get there first, and that includes China. That's Russia, every country, every university, every corporation on this planet is focused on that because there is no second place.
But the question that doesn't seem to be asked is, what is humanity going to do? Elon Musk today said that one Optimus will replace 3 jobs minimum, three people's jobs. And the question is, what are they imposing? A communist type socialist structure where people just get a basic living substance and sit home and play in their headsets? Is this what you foresee?
There is I did this story yesterday, and I covered it, and I think it reveals the bigger picture. But there's this restaurant here in California that just opened, okay? And I think it's called Robot Burger. I think that's what it's called. And they've got robots for line cooks.
Oh, God.
And they can crank out your burger custom ordered in 27 seconds. All right. So I'm reading the press release, and now I'm thinking about this for a second. On the surface, fascinating. Absolutely. I kind of want human hands to touch my food, me personally. But anyway, what's the bigger picture here? That, like you just said, we don't have jobs. Is all of that removed? And then where does humanity go from there? What's the end game with this? Do you know the company Klarna? Do you know who Klarna is?
Yeah.
Klarna is a finance company, and they're big. And basically what they do is extend credit for people making purchases in the moment, and you can pay over time, right? You buy something, you make 4 payments. And so that's Klarna, and they are huge. It's a big company. Klarna announced yesterday, I was so happy about this, that let me back up. 4 months ago, they made an announcement that they were going to use AI to handle all of their consumer calls. Okay? So you got issues. And they said in the announcement that AI was going to replace 700 call center positions with humans on phone lines.
Yeah.
And that scared me when they made that announcement. You know what they did this week? They reversed it. They're hiring those 700 people back.
Why is that?
Because AI was not giving them a good customer giving good customer service, that they wanted humans to do that. And so they reversed that decision. But if that's ultimately the end game, to replace jobs, what are we going to do?
Well, the question is, who are the people that are going to be able to afford to come and get the robot burgers if there's nobody's working?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What's the end game? On the surface, the technology is fascinating, but if there are no jobs left, how many? Did you read? There are a couple of court systems now in different countries that are using AI instead of juries, and are using AI instead of lawyers. Right now, it's like, wait a minute here. We need to slow down.
Well,
I don't know if I want AI to control my conviction in court.
Probably not. They're putting in, the WEF has Agenda 2030. That's 5 years from now. And, people are always saying, oh, the New World Order has been stopped and the swamp is drained. And yet here we are careening down to Agenda 2030, 5 years from now, all being put in place. And the question is, are they really going to invent Homo sapiens 2.0, which is us plugged in to AI, the hive, the Borg? But, what's the plan? Are they going to kill off a big segment of the population and replace it with Optimus? Boy, talk about a movie set, right?
Well, that I was just going to bring that up. What I live in Hollywood. Okay. I love movies. What we are clearly on the road to watching AI movies that are AI from front to back.
Yeah,
Are we
I know.
are we okay with that?
Well, apparently not, because the movie industry is dying. People are rebelling against this garbage, demanding better material, and the bottom line is it's being written by AI. Or somebody that I know in the industry said it's not necessarily AI, it's just that all the execs are coked out and they come
Well,
up with
there's that part. Yeah, that seems like a good idea.
yeah, oh,
Well,
why don't you do it like this? But it's a philosophical conundrum, because you can't stop progress. The question is it really progress?
it is deeply existential. It's a real
Yeah.
problem where um you're looking at you go out with some friends and somebody shows you, reaches in their backpack and pulls out a book that they're reading. You need to check out this book, and you look, and the cover is AI generated. You don't know what's inside on those pages if they're AI generated. But back in the day, you had a human creating the artwork. You had a human doing the typesetting. You had a human doing the editing. You had a human doing the writing.
Well, we're still
And
doing
well, supposedly,
well. My
and
last
it's
that was
well,
done.
not you, not, but you know what I'm saying. You know where this industry is going.
Yeah, yeah, and because you see, the thing is, the knockdown effect is just tremendous. The publishers will go, everything will disappear because the robots will be doing it all, or AI and robots, and all of this human art. I mean, imagine if they had this when Shakespeare was alive. Gone would be all of the great literature of the past, all of the beauty, the poetry, the great artists. We're going to lose our humanity because nobody's ever going to do it like humans. I mean, we're flawed, but man, are we talented, right? And so, we are at this crisis point. And like you said, it seems that there's no control. It's runaway. Absolutely, because they're all competing with each other to be faster, better, sooner. And
Isn't it funny how we could actually have disclaimers on the cover of a book that says this book cover and the contents are AI generated, and nobody's going to care. And that's a crazy place to get to. But then here's the other part. We're going to be looking for stuff that was created consciously. It's weird. That's going to be the right where is the material? So now you're out with friends and somebody whips out a book out of their backpack. Check this out, man. Written by a real author.
Fahrenheit
What? Really?
It'll be like Fahrenheit 451, right? Where truth and beauty and humanity are being suppressed for a reason. And that takes us back to the Mandela effect. It's like, we are going to rewrite your history so that you're unplugged from it. They're already dumbing down the children in the schools, right? The universities. But, here you go. No, it wasn't a cornucopia. Never was there. It's all in your mind. And to the point where this is complete mind control, because well, it's a different word, but I won't be vulgar. But yes, I will. Mind effery. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Mind
We're all adults here. You can say it.
where you start doubting yourself. You start doubting your humanity, your ability to remember, and they rewrite the past. They start off with these tricky little things like the cornucopia, and pretty soon they're rewriting Shakespeare, and pretty soon it's disappearing completely. If they have this power to do this, oh my God, you're going to just erase human history? Of course, they've been doing that in various ways anyway.
Go watch. I invite everybody listening right now. You think you know. Go and watch 1984, the movie. You don't have to read the book. Just go watch the movie today. You've seen it before. I get it. Go watch it now. It's the most uncomfortable, squirm in your seat movie that you can watch. It's like crazy.
I love the song to make 1984 fiction again.
It's not, are we at the point where you're with a friend? Okay, man, check this out. It's a real band that recorded this, right? Just like, what? A real band? Really? Are we on that path? And the short answer is we're right there. I mean, it's being done, and the drip part of where we are today, it's like we have woken up and we're looking around going, how did we get here?
Yeah.
And we just allowed it to happen, slowly but surely.
Or did they glitch time?
Sure.
Did we get catapulted into another parallel universe? Are we in a parallel universe? Is the Earth 2000 still as it was, progressing when I was younger?
Man, don't make me say it, but I am old enough to say that we probably lived through the last and best and greatest generation. The 60s, the 70s, and the 80s before technology came in. And
Are you of this generation?
What's that?
Are you of this generation?
I'm 61.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm old. So what were you thinking? That your stalker was younger? I like that. But there's something to that. I go back and I think about growing up in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, like I did, where we were busy all the time doing stuff without what we have today. Yeah.
We weren't doing this. We were interacting. We were partying. We were making great music. I mean, come on. The music of the 70s, that's all I listen to now because I refuse to listen to the majority of the synthetic music. Even the music is synthesized, right? Give me some rock and roll, baby.
That's what I'm saying. I've got a band on this.
Exactly. It was forbidden to listen to it.
Yeah, I've got a band.
They took away the record players. Then we got the CDs, the tapes, and they keep changing the formatting so that eventually we won't be able to reproduce this music. And you'll have
how do we get consciousness back in play?
This is the great question that everybody's asking. And the bottom line is it starts with saying no. With saying no to this individually and doing what we're doing, which is asking people to think about it, to be conscious enough. And because I on the video where Elon is talking about Optimus legions, people, I was reading the comments and it says, where can I get mine? I can't wait. Oh my God, I can't wait. I want it. And I'm like, why? Why do you want this monstrosity in your house? Oh, because it'll flip burgers. Until people start questioning what the hell it is that they're running after, we've got a problem. And it's only humanity that can slow this down if it's not too late. But like you said, where does my interaction with civilization, with reality, affect my own life? And I will, Jimmy, I've said this before, if they try to hook me up, I'm going to walk right into the ocean and not turn back. I refuse to be gone than to be hooked up to anything.
You know where I've got a semi-smart house now, and I said that I would never do it, but I have a semi-smart house. I have a pretty good security system too, as well. But you know where I draw the line? I have no smart stuff as far as I don't have a robot vacuum. Not going to do it. I'm not. I don't have smart things. I don't have a smart toothbrush. I don't have a smart this, a smart that.
They exist.
What? Oh, you can get a smart. You ready? You can get a smart bathroom mirror.
Get out of
You
here.
can get a Bluetooth smart bathroom mirror. How crazy is that?
Europe in general is not that bad, and then being on the island in the middle of the ocean is, it's very 1990. Okay.
I stay at I'm not going to say where. I don't want to, because I do like the hotel, but I stay at a very specific hotel about once a month on business, and there's a Bluetooth mirror in there. And so you walk in the bathroom and you turn, and it's right there. It's right on the mirror, man. Your Bluetooth is, it's like, man, I'm not cool with that.
What does it do?
I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I tell you this much, I'm not naked in front of it.
That's
I
very
can't do
well.
it. Yeah. It's like, man, what is going on here? What
20
is
years
going?
ago, I met a man in England who worked for Sony, and he told me that they were putting, then it was maybe, I think it was longer than 20 years ago, 25 years ago. He said every other television we're putting a camera in. I said, oh, stop. He said, Patricia, every other smart TV set has a camera watching the audience. He said, so if you're going to be making love or doing absurdities in front of the TV, make sure you put a little sticker over the red light. And I go, oh, I'm not believing you for a minute. So I don't have TV. I haven't had TV for 25 years, but I do have a set because I play my old DVDs. This is my old fart approach to entertainment. And one night, 2:00 in the morning, the TV went on. I was like, oh, awakened from a sleep. And here was this TV. It was right out of science fiction. TV, the screen was on and the light was blinking. I go, oh my God. Oh my God. He was right. And this is an old TV set. I mean, it's, one of the first smart TVs, a small one. But Big Brother is watching you, baby.
And they're listening all the time. They're listening all the time. It's funny now because it's become so passe. But I remember many years ago, 5-6 years ago, where this phenomenon was starting, where I would have a conversation about something and then it would pop up some ad would pop up in my newsfeed.
Yeah.
And everybody started to talk about it. Congress was talking about it. They questioned Zuckerberg about it, and he said, no, we're not listening, which was bullshit. But it is now so common where I know, what my internet searches are? My internet searches are UFOs and guitars, right? That's I'm not searching stuff. But when I have a conversation with somebody about something, and it happened recently, like in the last couple of days, about a subject that was just so obscure, and I'll make something up. The conversation was about the color of spiraled bowling balls. Okay. All right. That's the conversation. And it's a conversation. I'm not searching the colors of spiraled bowling balls. And later that day, and this was at breakfast, later that day, I'm scrolling through and I was adding some stuff, taking some pictures. I was out of town, and I'm posting right there in my feed.
Absolutely.
Spiraled bowling balls.
Yeah.
In my feed. And I was just like, but people don't care.
Why
don't. It's weird. It happens so much now that we just take it as a way of life. It's really bizarre.
I think that part of the reason is because you and I are the pre-tech generation where we had an experience of humanity on another level, but the new generations, don't know from nothing. I mean, they grew up with this beast, and it's just normal for them. I mean, they're just plugged in
Hmm.
completely. So
Hmm.
whatever the next progression is, like, yeah, I can't wait. Oh, wow, wave my hand over the Coke machine instead of having to put it a quarter in. What are you, nuts? And I think there's that. I mean, I think that, I think of myself as one of the dying breed of people that had the joy of living in those years, 60s, 70s, 80s. Those were good years on this planet.
The generations now, and I'm talking about, we've run out of letters, so I don't know what these latest generations are, but kids today that are 2, 3, 4, 5 years old and above, their social existence, their friendships, how they communicate and everything else is now done electronically. It's how they start off life today. And we didn't do that. We started off differently.
Yeah.
So we know the difference, but they don't know that difference. Their entire
Oh,
existence, their social status and meaning, and how they interact and communicate and fall in love and make friends and gossip and do all the things that we did without it, but they do it all in that world. And I think that is a concern. I do
as
know they just passed legislation, and it's happening in most states here in the United States. I can't speak for the rest of the world, but that there is a lot of regulation now when it comes to school, that cell phones are turned off, and in most cases you can't even have them at your desk.
it doesn't
And
matter. They go home and they plots in front of
well,
the screen.
that's true. That's true. Yeah,
But I
that's
wanted
true.
to say something about what you just said, and that is we have a greater distance between the reality of now, with when we're specifically talking about tech and the unfolding of AI, because we come from such a time ago before it, but they have a much shorter time span of progression. So they don't have this extreme awareness of this extreme progression from where we grew up to where we are now. They're just like, yeah, they grew up with cell phones. Now they're moving into this horrific holographic universe, and it's a natural progression for them because they don't know any differently.
So check this out. Are you ready?
Right.
All right. Now, just don't blow up until I get to the end, okay?
Okay.
Because you're just going to want to,
Okay.
and it's meant to do that. Google announced today that it will roll out its Gemini artificial intelligence chatbot to children under the age of 13. And while the launch starts within the next week here in the United States and Canada, it's going to launch in Australia later this year. The chatbot will only be available to people via Google's Family Link accounts. Now, check this out. Google's Family Link accounts allow parents to control access to content and apps like YouTube, for instance. Okay, but this is where it gets nuts. Chatbot access will be on by default. So parents need to actively turn the feature off to restrict access. And that's only if parents know about that. But the launch, it is going to be on by default. Children will be able to prompt Gemini for text responses or to create images which are generated by the system. Now, Google says, Patricia, Google says the system will include built-in safeguards designed to prevent the generation of inappropriate or unsafe content.
Sure.
But I will say this announcement, it's over. It's over. It's over. Tap out, everybody. Tap out. This is Google. This is not some startup company. This is Google, a worldwide monopoly when it comes to the internet And now we have a children-focused, a children-centric AI chatbot. And that,
Mom,
and so here it is. Here it is. Are you ready? This is my fear. Good morning, Timmy. How are you? Right?
right.
Right? Holy. Ah!
They're after the children, so that's
Yes.
sleep. It's very discouraging. I think that there's always the pendulum effect. Surely there will be a pendulum effect. The question is, will we be so deeply entrenched in this that we can't get momentum? Because if you talk to 10 people, 9 of them think it's a great thing, maybe 9.5. And I'm out here screaming all the time, and people are saying, Patricia, but have you tried it? It's really wonderful. You can look up anything you want to know. I go, but you don't understand. It's the seeking. That's what gives me my juice. I don't
Yep.
need to know. I want to seek. That is the human joy creator. To seek, to grow, to dream. I don't want to push a button and have the answer. I want to find it. And not too many people think like me. It's very upsetting.
Do you remember no, you don't watch. Okay. There was a movie called Wall-E. All right. And the thing about Wall-E is animation. I think it was Pixar or something. Okay. And Wall-E is a little robot. Now, the movie is about a vacation type spaceship where families go. And so in this case, it was going to go across the universe. All right. So this spaceship, everything, it's a cruise liner. Everything is taken care of. Right. So over the generations of life on the spaceship, the human families, which started off, walked onto the ship slim and trim, right? A generation later, everybody's lying around in lounge chairs, right? Obese, right? And that's what we're talking about here. That's that Wall-E. It's sad movie too, sad ending. I cried. Anyway, that people watch that and kind of laugh. That can. I say not so fast. And I think that is part of it. And you're right. The pendulum swings. I think that we will go back to just like we are now with processed foods, right? We went through that, and now it's swinging back the other way where we want healthier alternatives. And and I didn't think that we would ever do that. I thought that Cheese Whiz, right, was our future, and we were going to stay right there. But if you look back in our lifetimes, and you think about the era before processed foods, when your mom would have a skillet on the oven full of on the stove full of bacon grease that she saved so she could cook, and cook and just cook. And now I would say that was actually healthy eating, and it was an unprocessed world back then. And we're going back to it. So maybe we will swing back. Maybe there is a future without AI or less of it and less automation.
I don't think there is a future for Homo sapiens if we don't swing back, because the future as AI is stampeding into this future, the objective is to hook us up. We're already hooked in many ways, but they want to hook us up to Borg Central. So humanity will mutate, and we won't be the species like we are now.
You know what I think the goal is? This is just me. But you know what the goal is for a guy like Elon and Optimus? immortality. I think that their goal is to ultimately upload your mind and your consciousness and your memories into an Optimus where you don't have disease, you don't have to sleep, and you're immortal. I think that's the goal. I do. Yeah, I think that's the goal.
And will Optimus learn how to love?
The goal, consciousness. I think it would all the ultimate thing for them would be to have you, as you know, all of this into a robot, so you're free of disease, sleep, and nutrition.
And what about the soul? Well, what will happen?
Soul, that's you got to do it with the soul. Yeah.
Because if you upload everything about me into a robot, what about the infinity of my soul?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the goal. You've got to include that. All right, let me flip this around. Let me flip this on you. Let me ask you the ultimate philosophical, existential, buried, trauma-filled question. Yeah, which is this? Which is this? If it was possible, would you do it?
Never. Because I believe in the infinity of the soul.
But the soul goes. Your soul is part of it.
No, you mean entrapped in this robot, right?
Forever.
See,
would you do it?
But no, because that concept is to encapsulate your entire essence, including the soul consciousness, in a robotic device that will maintain it for time immemorial. But I already know. I've already been on the other side. I've had 2 near-death experiences. I know I'm an immortal being. I don't have to remain in a physical body. I know we go on, and that place is far more free and joyous and lightful than being stuck in a box of plastic for eternity. For God's sakes.
And that's what they want. I'm telling you, that's their goal. That's their goal. That's what they want. That's what they want. Elon wants his slappy ass in a robot so he could immortality.
I think he wants more than that. I think that they won't be satisfied until the entire planet is mutated into some sort of synthetic artifice.
We're so close to that right now. You know, they're sitting around a table going, yeah,
because they even want to kill the trees. I mean, they want to bury trees because of the carbon imprint. It's like, excuse me, but the trees are releasing oxygen. Why in the world would you think that works? Bill Gates' idea. Let's start burying some trees. The concept is to completely mutate the planet and turn it into some sort of synthetic artifice for reasons that are hard to understand.
So E.T. would have experienced this same evolution that we're going through right now.
Possibly.
Right? And so I think that would be my question to E.T. How did you live through Elon Musk? How did you guys survive what we are doing right now? How did you guys do it? How did you make it through to the other side so you could continue to evolve? That would be my question.
But
how did you do it?
One of the answers is, or another question that is a sort of answer is, are we sure they did survive, or did they turn into Borgs themselves?
I don't.
Is that what we're dealing with? An alien civilization that has already gone through what we're going through and hit this point of being a hive Borg mind and imposing now, spreading its, let's call it.
God, that would suck, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
That would just suck. One of my favorite guests, a really good friend of mine, a physicist, his name is Isaac Arthur, and he's a futurist. Brilliant mind, so much fun. He's great. And his channel, if you ever get a chance, it's Futurism with Isaac Arthur. Go and watch his stuff. It's just amazing. He's so good. Anyway, this is what he said to me. And it just, man, I lost sleep over this. He goes, look, it's nothing for an advanced civilization to evolve into a simulation existence where all of their civilization is uploaded onto chips, and that's how they live. And that would be a solution to survive everything that is around us. That includes pollution and disease and all of that. You get rid of the physical body and you exist on a chipset. And that could be the ET race that we encounter. What a deep, heavy thought, right? That
What a pleasant projection.
Yeah.
Here's something I'd like to throw out to you, kind of circling back. What if, when we were talking about CERN, you said, do you think that they would be able to send it back if they brought something through?
Right.
If CERN triggered a time mutation and catapulted us into a parallel reality, would they have the capacity, rather than sending something back from whence it came, what if CERN turned out to be the good guys and were able to send us back, trigger the entire reality back to the timeline that got blitzed? Because I believe that. I think we've been glitched.
Yeah, Isaac, actually, I'm going to fall back on Isaac. It's funny that we just brought him up. That is something that he mentioned. And he said,
That's good to know.
yeah, he said that it would be easier to travel between worlds and between dimensions than it would be to travel at the speed of light through space. That traveling into the multiverse and traveling into parallel worlds is much easier to do and experience in different timelines than it is building physical ships and trying to go across the universe. And he said that a lot of what we are experiencing here when it comes to ET and extraterrestrial experiences that we perceive as that they are doing it in an interdimensional capacity. They're coming from the multiverse over to here and traveling back. And it was just weird to hear him say it so freely because he's never seen a spaceship, right? And he doesn't know if ET has been visiting here. He can't prove it one way or another. He's a physicist. He's, pragmatic, black and white, numbers guy. A fascinating futurist and theorist when it comes to this. But when it came to that idea, he was like, that's easy. And it's just, wow. So yeah, is it possible? And could CERN ultimately be the good guys? And yeah.
Well, there is a pendulum of swing between good and evil. It could happen. And what was I going to say? I lost my chain of thought. Oh, I had an important comment to say about what you said.
Well, do you remember the movie Tron?
Sure.
Okay. The first version. Second version is pretty good. But anyway, the first version of Tron. And I experienced that as a kid. And I remember seeing that. And wow, what a crazy play on the future that movie was when you think about it, before the internet and before everything. It was such a well-written movie. But to go and live in the quantum environment of a computer system and see that. And so is that okay? Somebody just posted here, and this is what reminded me of Tron. I want to be able to feel a hug.
Oh,
right? Yeah, what an important thing to say.
Yeah.
Right? And the answer to that is, well, what if a hug is a hug? What if a hug is still a hug even if you're living on a computer chip? What if you get the same joy and the same emotion out of that? What if you still have empathy living on a chip?
Yeah, but synthetic empathy. Will it be the same thing?
Would you know the difference?
Boy,
Yeah, these are deep, deep. What would Plato say to a conversation like this? Well, he did write Plato's Cave, so I guess he kind of understood. But
he's
what would Socrates say?
He'd say, "Send me back to my generation."
Totally.
The Brian Cox, wonderful physicist, brain. He was talking about CERN affecting the space-time continuum. He said this is a reality that they're recognizing that that everything is consciousness in space. Gee whiz, and that they're interested in altering space-time continuum. So are they? Because this is what we've been talking about, right? Perhaps they already know how to do that.
Do you know why? Do you know why Brian Cox is legit to me? He pisses me off more than he makes me happy, though. I'll say that. He thinks Brian. I'm hoping he's going to evolve, but he thinks there is no life in the universe, that we are all there is. He does. He actually says that, but he's brilliant in his ways of thinking, like what you just said about CERN. And you know why he's brilliant? I'm going to tell you something you didn't know about Brian Cox. You ready? He was a death metal, heavy metal bass player in a band. Yep.
Wow.
Brian Cox. Go look at the pictures.
That is surprising.
As an adult. And he was as an adult. And he went from that and went to college and then became a physicist.
Wow.
But before that, he was, yeah, Brian Cox. Straight up. Swedish death metal, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah.
So yeah, the question remains, are they doing that? Are they already mutating the space-time continuum? The video that I saw of him, he was talking about how everything is connected, and now they're recognizing that it's very possible that even the space-time continuum is a conscious structure. Of course it is. But science is now admitting this, and that means that they're looking at ways to alter it. So, oh my God, we're in for a ride here.
Well, I would say that has to be the case. Honestly, I have zero evidence that you and I and life is an accident, that it just happened. I don't believe that. I think that there is something else deeply intelligent behind it. Call it spiritual, call it, some people will use the word God. I don't know the answers there, but it's not by accident. That's it. Everything that I have learned, everything that I've studied points in the other direction. And if that's the case, then that knowledge and whatever that creator was is infinitely old and is doing it all over the place. And that's why I think the multiverse and all of these dimensions and things, where it comes into play, that we are not all there is. There's infinite universes. Infinite.
It would be very frightening to think that the human race is all there is, because we're not doing such a great job as the only life form in the universe. I beg to differ. I think that we would surely aspire to civilizations that are more evolved than we are. And that's not to cast aspersions against the human race. I think I've made it very clear how wonderful it is to be human, but we need to progress on many levels. And I personally don't think that the artificial way is the way. I pray to God or to spirit or whatever you want to call it, that we will swing back to.
But what if we do? What if we? Well, let's end on this. Let's end on a positive note. But ultimately, it's not so positive. What if we evolve out of these meat suits into beings of light and energy? What if, is that okay?
It's wonderful, the idea that we have to cling to a physical reality, and if that means it being encaged in a computer, great, that would be a form of immortality, is very contrary to my understanding and probably yours, that we are infinite souls and that we're just passing through this finite tube called physical reality for this short term, 70, 80, 90 years, and then to go on, not to just disappear and not exist, but rather to go on to more experience, lighter forms, ascension, and all that that implies, or even death and reincarnation, hopefully going higher, 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 to what end, no one knows. But this is my understanding. And as I said, having had a very powerful near-death experience, I personally know for sure. And people say, how dare you say anything like that? I go, personally, my personal experience is unquestionable that we live on, that we are just passing through here, and that when you get to the other side, it is brilliant. Maybe not for everyone, but my experience was extraordinary. And you don't want to come back into your body. You want to soar with the eagles, as they say. And that
Great
is
conversation. Great conversation tonight. What are you working on now?
Okay, I'm appearing in Glastonbury Symposium this year. I'm the keynote speaker on the July 27th. I'm also offering a workshop in Glastonbury on the 23rd. I'm going to be blowing people out of the water if I can. And I'm doing a lot of spiritual art. And what else?
Got a new book? Are you working on a new book?
A new book, yes.
Keep us posted, and I look forward to our next conversation, Patricia. You know, I love you. You're the very best, and just thank you for everything that you do for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy. You're the best. Keep trolling.
I'll talk to you. Thank you so much, Patricia. Enjoy the rest of your night there on that island.
It's 4 a.m. I'm going to try to go to bed.
I'll talk to you.
Take care.
Patricia Cori, everybody. Thank you so much, Patricia. Perfect night on the show. And I do want to remind everybody tomorrow night, I do this every night. It's so funny. Tomorrow night, Patricia Eltinge is with us. We're going to be talking about dreams tomorrow night. So I will see everybody here tomorrow night. Thank you, Patricia. Perfect night on the show. And Patricia's links are below on our website and throughout our social media. Until tomorrow night, all I've got is go back Lee Tappy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go back, Lee Tappy.